In this video, I'm going to bring you through the exact 8-figure e-commerce blueprint when it comes to creatives, how to scale them, how to manage them, how to actually increase the input of creatives while still maintaining quality. And number two, how to build highly profitable landing pages that convert at high rates and make sure that your customers spend enough so that you can justify your expensive advertising costs, okay, and still be profitable on the front end. With no further ado, let's get right into the video. Great, so let's get into this video, and before we get going, let me actually explain briefly what I'm going to present. I'm going to show you two freeforms, two kind of like diagrams. The first one is going to talk about creatives, how to scale, okay, how to make sure that you have a structured and predictable and cheap, especially cheap way to scale your input while still maintaining quality, which is fundamental. And number two, I'm going to talk about landing page. So this is an 8-figure landing page. I'm going to break down exactly how it's built, why it works, what are the fundamental aspects and frameworks that make this landing page work in the first place so that you can do it for your own business. And then here at the top, I'm going to talk about essentially the entire framework of the page before diving into the actual page, okay? So let's get into the first promise. So before we actually get going into anything here, this is just some proof, just so you know that I'm qualified to speak about these things. But you know, I have a lot of proof and videos and live dashboards where I refresh, I do all that jazz. But here's just some, you know, some screenshots of just some caliber of clients that we've been able to work with. You know, $1 million months. You know, 10. And by the way, some of these companies are also just multi 8-figure companies, but they're just so this is excluding like their retail division or their Amazon or their Etsy or wherever they're also promoting. So and so, you know, this is not the entire revenue of the business. This is just purely online. And so we've been working with companies that do 3, 4, 5, a million, $100,000 a month, $1 million a month, in some cases even more. And this is the caliber of client that we work with. And so whenever we start, you know, thinking about creatives and landing pages, these are probably the most fundamental aspects, because you cannot scale with a proven offer and landing page, and you cannot scale if you don't have a systematized way of actually organizing your creatives. And so let's talk about creatives very briefly. There's pretty much two ways of scaling creatives. The first way is kind of the traditional way, is to basically have a pipeline of creators, and this works perfectly, and it works if you want maybe something super specific and you have like a framework that you know works. But essentially you contact the creator and you tell them to film one UGC video, and essentially from that UGC video you give them a script, you give them a storyboard, you tell them what and how to film the video, and then typically the creator will send you a raw file, and in most cases they will actually edit the video for you. And you will notice that these editors, professional content creators, are actually not too bad at editing as well, because they are, you know, they grow their own TikTok accounts and their own social media, and they're quite good in most cases. Either way, always ask for a raw file so that your editing team or whatever, yourself, whoever it is, can actually, you know, create mashups, get pieces and bits from videos, and also just edit and add subtitles however you want, if you want it a little more branded. The second method, which is the one that we mostly use for scaling, is B-roll. So it's cost the same amount. I speak about this in all of my videos. So if you're hearing this for the 10th time, my apology, but this is, you know, e-commerce and business has just core fundamentals, and this is just one of them. So if you want to scale your UGC, it's the first option, or the B-roll option is basically same expense. This is going to cost you maybe $100, $200 per video with like some hooks. And this B-roll strategy is going to cost you the same, but the only difference is that instead of filming an entire video, they film like 10 to 20 scenes that are 3 to 5 seconds long. So one scene can be a person happy with the product, another scene can be a person that is sad, or a person that is unboxing the video, a before and after, all these little scenes. And the reason why it's so powerful is since it's the same cost, which is great for the value, and it's actually saving them time, because believe it or not, it actually takes more time to film an entire UGC video rather than filming like, you know, 10 to 20 scenes individually that they're like 3 to 5 seconds long. And so it's the same input for them, it's just a better value for you, right? Which is absolutely great. Make sure that you get full rights for these videos. I'm sure that these B-rolls you won't have any problems, but sometimes for like normal UGC videos, people ask for like usage rights, and so they give you access to the content for 3 months, and then you have to pay them again. There's no need to do that, especially with B-rolls. That's not going to happen because they're just sending you footage. Okay, have editors put these pieces together. Eventually, just to back up a second, you're going to end up with like a huge mega folder of like 30, 50, 100 B-rolls, and then you can have your editors kind of create stories based on scripts. So we scale with AI scripts or AI voiceovers from like real people. And this is how we basically test. And so we test different scripts, and then we test different B-roll variations. So script number 1 is gonna have like a storyboard, which by the way, you can do like with 11 Labs if you wanna use AI. You just go on 11labs.ai or .com, I don't remember, and you just type in your script, and then you choose the persona that is gonna speak, right? I think you probably know that already by now. And then based on the storyboard, you can kind of put all of these pieces together to create a unique storyline, and that makes sense with or I guess a unique visual storyline that makes sense with the script that you put on over here. So this is great because you can actually scale horizontally horizontally with multiple scripts, and then from here you can basically create a lot of pieces of content and a lot of I call them B-roll variations by mixing and matching all of these B-roll folders to create like new storylines, visual storylines. And so this is actually absolutely great for scaling because it saves you a bunch of time, it saves you a bunch of money, right? The delivery is very fast because instead of having like 5 creators deliver 5 videos at the same time, you have 5 creators deliver like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 unique pieces of content, and then once again, as I explained, you put them all together and you can generate almost unlimited pieces of content. Once we find the framework that works, let's just say script number 3 with a B-roll variation 3, then this is how we can get creative and start testing hooks. And so I would start testing hooks towards once you kind of like prove a concept and prove like a marketing angle. Marketing angle is like how you push and promote your product. Example of a marketing angle. This is, I always do the bottle example because I drink and the bottle is right next to me. So this is you can promote this with like the health benefits, or you can because it's water, or you can promote it because it's small and convenient. Just a stupid example. So these are marketing angles. Find what works for you. Based on building a script and proving your marketing angle, then you can then go ahead and dive deeper into testing different hooks. So you keep the entire rest of the video the same, but you just change the first 3 to 5 seconds. And guess what? You're gonna have a bunch of 3 to 5 seconds pieces of footage because you have a bunch of B-rolls. So this is really fast to test and scale. What's gonna end up happening here is that you're gonna have so much creative that you can handle and you can scale. And I always like to put the example over here is that social media ads is, Google, let me start with Google. With Google, if you have a market volume that is like over here, let's say 10,000 searches, this is the amount of money that you can spend. Like you can then retarget people with branded keywords or whatever, display ads, retargeting ads. But if this is what the market gives you, you cannot spend more than what it gives you. So this is what you're gonna get. With social media, you always have to make sure that you have a surplus of creatives because you cannot scale your spend if you don't have if your creative input is over here. So typically what brands do is that they start off well because they invest into a bunch of creatives, and then they try to scale, they start breaking even, and then they start losing money because they're increasing their spend without finding new angles and new creatives that actually work and can support the increase in spend. It doesn't work like Google, okay? Hopefully you got some value out of this. Now that we got the creative solution, we know how to scale, we know how to repurpose content, we know how to produce 100 times more videos with the same exact price, right? The only caveat there is that you need a good video editor. If you don't have a good video editor, then it won't work for you. But you can hire a cheap video editor, or if you have a team, you're lucky. Okay, so let's move on to landing page. Okay, this is an 8-figure company. You may or may not know them, but this is one of the best performing landing pages, and it's called Scandinavian Biolabs, and they sell like hair growth product. So I'm gonna go through their entire page, but before I do, let me talk about the structure of, and this is not the only way, because if you probably go back into my other videos, you can tell that I speak about different types of structures of landing pages. So this is not the only one, but this is definitely one that we've tested before. And of course, if multi 8-figure companies are using them, it definitely works. Okay, so don't reinvent the wheel, just stick to what works. So they start with a product introduction. I always suggest, and I'll show you what I mean by that, by having as much information as possible of the product at the top, because the top of the fold is going to be very fundamental when it comes to conversion rate and actually getting people's attention, because most people, believe it or not, are actually not going to scroll through their entire page. Okay, so they're just interested in the top, like 1 or 2 scrolls. That's about it. So product intro, problem intro, so that we can introduce the problem, introduce proof. This could also be, like, put over here. You can talk about proof and then you talk about the problem. It doesn't really matter too much. It's good to also have proof immediately, because it's in the first couple of scrolls you want to have proof, right? So, but how they do it is that they have a problem intro, introducing the pain, proof, then you prove it with statistics that are unbiased. And I mean, this is kind of like a health product. You can also prove things with statistics that are, even if you're selling whatever, it actually doesn't matter. And if you can't, just don't put the statistics, just put some sort of other social proof that will allow them to see, that will allow users to see you as the authority because the stats say it, or because other people say it, right? So that's kind of like the framework. But because we're dealing with a health product here, after proof, we have like an unbiased statistic, and I'll show you what they do. They do like a very in-depth research and case study, and they link to the article. And then product information, specs. This actually, believe it or not, is kind of the last things that they touch base on. So features, benefits, and specs about the product. People don't actually care about these things. They care about, is it going to solve my problem? Are other people using it? How fast is it going to solve my problem? And you should cover these things in the first 1 or 2 scrolls. Okay. They don't care how beautiful, I mean, they do care maybe on the presentation of the product subconsciously, but actually people don't give a shit about who you are, what you do. They just care about solving their own problem. Very selfish, but that's how people work, especially when they buy, because they're giving you money. Okay, then we have more information that is value driven. I'll show you in just a second. And then of course we have proof and reviews. Just to reiterate over here, we want to show the proof at least a couple of times within the page. And so they have proof, and then they have a FAQ section, and then they have a guarantee to like a risk reversal, and then they have more reviews. Okay, so they have 3 review sections. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me just go over through the page so that you can actually see this high converting page that is, I think, beautiful. Okay, let me just do it like this. Okay, so let's start with the top of the fold over here. So the first thing that I want to notice, and I also spoke about this in my last video, I think, or last 2 videos, is that they have very good high quality images. You don't want to push a page that has shitty images and bad quality, or it's pixelated. You want to make sure that everything is like high quality, no pixelation. And also you want to have kind of like a mini landing page over here. I can't scroll because this is not a live page, but what they have over here, if you can tell, is that they have kind of like a small, oh my god, what's happening? They have like a small mini landing page as they scroll by over here. So this is kind of the first section, second section, third section, fourth section. And so the point here is that if people even just scroll through the images, and most people do because they're curious about the product and what it has to offer, they should already know what it does, what solutions it solves, what other, how many other customers are using the product, and just its features and benefits and specs. So you should basically have a mini landing page here. Then what I love about this top of the fold, is that they offer 2 sections, right? And it's very easy to understand. The first is, and I did a screenshot so you can see what both look like, but the first one is like a subscribe and save option, and that's going to be the preferred one, and they offer 1 and 3 month supplies. I could also argue that it's maybe they've tested that for them and it works, but I would also argue to do a 1, a 3, and a 6 month supply, or a 1, a 3, and a 12 month, where they have huge savings. Okay, and so if I were to do a comment about this, I would probably increase the difference between getting a 1 month supply in savings and a 3 month. So maybe I would put this like at 25% and here 35%, because 5% isn't like a whole huge deal. Either way, what I do like that they do is that there is a pretty significant increase in savings if they do like if they go from a one-time option to a subscribe and save option. Okay. And also for me personally, I wouldn't really discount too much of my products up front, so I would probably do like 1 month no discount, or maybe just like 10% for first time buyers, and then 3 months I could maybe do like a 15% discount or something like that. And then if or maybe 20%, that makes sense. And then if they subscribe and save, I would maybe, I would keep these as they are. But this is just my personal opinion. I would test it. Maybe they already did test it and it's working, right? We're always assuming that these 8-figure companies, to one extent to another, they've actually spent millions of dollars and they've kind of like, battle tested these concepts. Okay, what I also like about here is that they basically get access to all of the information of the product within these drop down menus, which I like a lot. Also, just to not skip this, which is very important, they have a small little testimonial over here that I also like a lot. I could also debate that this could go here. I like it because there's, right next to it there's a get started button or call to action, which is great. I would also put this at the top so people see immediate social proof that it works, and I've seen that work as well. Okay, this is good so far. I love it, and this is where you get to see the proof. So showing proof as high as you can in your page is essential, as I explained before. People want to see that your product actually works, whether it's quality of the product, proof of effectiveness, etc., etc., etc. And so I love these frames where there's like before and after scrollable kind of like options, and where you can just basically drag here, whatever this is called, the button, and you can see like the before and after. This is very impactful and like visually impactful. If you can have like before and afters, even in your ads, in your advertising, if in the first 3 to 5 seconds, you can have very impactful and like where you can clearly see a difference between a before and after, works like a charm. Works like a charm. And so I like this a lot, especially because it's in the first kind of like top of the fold. Okay. Then they have the statistics. I really like this about them because they also kind of like have like clinical studies and clinical trials. So just know that people don't trust you in the beginning, even if you have like authority. That helps a lot. Like if you have a lot of customers and you have authority and you build a brand, whatever, but they actually don't really genuinely trust you or trust you within their gut feeling. And so if you can provide unbiased truth that what you're saying is actually true, and you're not the only person saying it other than your customers, right? Then this is really powerful. And so what they do is that they actually, I can't see it over here, but I think the clinical study, they actually have a link to the research, which is from Harvard or like some like super important, scientific university in the US or whatever. And so that's like a high authority figure in people's eyes because everybody knows Harvard, and so they automatically trust the brand even more. Here's some more social proof. I like this a lot. And then here, once again, this is after, and a lot of people start here, and this is where it's kind of annoying for me to see. Whenever I get on audit calls, I always see that people speak about features and benefits right over here at the top, or at least over here. And it's something you need to discuss later because people don't even care about learning about the ingredients if they don't actually sell to themselves that this is something that they might need. Once they know that they are problem aware and they know that this is something that they might need, then this is the right time to show them ingredients. And then they have a full ingredient list. If they want to explore more, there's like a drop down or something like that. And so this is also very visually appealing. You can show the ingredient, aloha, whatever, and then you have like a little description. I like this a lot. Very clean, very professional. Now, it seems, what do I say here? Now, it's time to educate the users on the main problems that your product solves. In the case, it's hair loss, so this brand does a great job to show and explain what the cause and the solution and the results are. Yeah, perfect. So this is very important because once again, this is what people care about. They care about the results, they care about the solution, they care about the cause. Why am I getting this? What is the solution? What are the results if you actually take action with the product? And so this is kind of like you're basically holding their hand and saying, this is the cause of your problem, this is a potential solution, and these are the result, which is our product, and this is the results that you can expect, right? Expectations and giving them a timeline, especially when you're dealing with like health products, like how long is it going to take, right? Set the reasonable expectations here. And great. And so here there's like a review section. I like this a lot. Each you basically have a clickable option. You can click on Martin and Paul and Niels, and you can just read your reviews. And then of course there's always a call to action over here. where it brings them down to the review. Now, if I have to have one comment on this page, since it's a page that has a lot of sections, I would actually have like a small legend, let's call it, where it's like scroll to option, where it's basically you can write like something like scroll to section, and then there's like 4 buttons, reviews, and then there's like another button for like this for reviews, then solution, then features, benefits, and then clinical case studies, right? Because when you have a long page, it kind of, people can get lost. And so also when you're dealing with the top of the page, people maybe are just interested about the clinical study and the what's it called, and the reviews, and so they just want to click and have like a quick scroll to section. This is the one thing that I would add in this page, because it's a long sales page, as you can see, so it takes some time to consume. Okay, FAQ section, I would advise to have at least 5 to 7, and obviously not like 50, but you know, this is probably the max that you can have within a page. They probably have a little bit more because it is a product that you put on your skin, and so people have a lot of objections. So this is great, I love it. And then if you don't see results in 150 days, we'll refund you. So there's absolutely no risk. This is a pretty big claim, but if they're confident in their product and they're willing to go through this guarantee, good for them, right? And then they basically top it off here with reviews, and I love this a lot. The one thing that I would change on this reviews is that I would actually add a review section. I'm not sure if you know, but you know, there's those review sections where people can actually rate like 3 different things, and then as they rate the 3 different things, there's like an overall rating. And so the first rating would be rate your product in its effectiveness, rate your product in like how fast it came or whatever, rate your experience in terms of support and stuff like that. And so what I would do for this product is I would actually build like 3 little surveys when people fill up a review, where they have like the 3 most common objections, and then I would have them, of course, make sure that the customers fill them out, and so people can see, okay, effectiveness 4.8 out of 5 stars, and how long did it take? Did it take less than 50 days or 150 days? Yes, 4 out of 8 stars, whatever. And so people can clearly see, you understand what I mean. Okay, so this is basically it. I hope this was valuable. And what this funnel actually probably has is that as they go through the entire page and buy, there's probably upsells and downsells and cross sells as they buy and add to cart, and as they pull in their credit card, and also post purchase probably. So this is probably a funnel that they're doing. That is it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. I know that I spoke about 2 different topics. Typically I just take one topic at a time, but I just think I just covered the 2 most important things, especially when you scale. Get traffic that is profitable, how you do that with great creatives, and how do you scale creatives. This is a good way to do it, and how to actually convert people when you get a bunch of traffic that is worth spending money on. Okay, and so this is a very good landing page. There's always other landing pages, many different structures, but this is something that I really liked a lot and I related to it, and I thought I'd share. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and that's it for this video.